Diamond's Log Arc date 2014-12-21. I'm going to read a little bit of something I wrote quite a while back, but just kind of encapsulates my message. I have a long-term and whole life view of what is normally termed prepping. It does not involve the normal prepping mindset, which after about 2.5 decades I rejected as being unworkable in real life. One of the reasons that happened was because I read a lot of these post-toasty scenarios, and I realized that ain't going to cut it. Okay? A lot of people, that's the only thing they can do. I understand they don't have the option, but a lot of people, I didn't really have an option either. I mean, I didn't have any money. I didn't have it. When I left Denver, I didn't have a job. I had no money whatsoever, but managed to make it work. Moved out to an old county schoolhouse in Kansas, got a job at $6 an hour, something like that. Ridiculous, but, made it work. We now own, buying 70 acres here. Most of it will own it within a year, free and clear, 60 acres. So, you can make it happen. Make it happen sooner than later is my advice. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. All right, I pulled the plug on that mindset, and I relocated basically to what preppers would call my bug-out location. That is where my entire family lives, on a rural Missouri farm, and guess what? Surrounded by hundreds of other farms owned by other good people. So that is my take on what I call the survivalist mentality, or the prepper mindset. Granted, prepping of any kind is good, even if it's only mentally and emotionally, something I cultivated systematically by reading survivalist post-toasty novels for the last some 30 years. Whatever you do may mean the difference between life and death for you and your family. Reading that literature was, to a large extent, what led me to decide to I should have just read this. What led me to decide to get the hell out of the big city and just change my entire lifestyle. Downsize, simplify, lighten the load, cut your losses, burn your bridges, but live where I would want to escape to when the shit hit the fan. And somebody once posted on a forum, what would you do if you had to move to your bug-out location and live there for the rest of your life? I said, I did. I am. I love it. Pretty simple. Okay. Nice, safe, quiet place other than the guineas cackling outside and the dogs growling every once in a while. Never hear a sign unless I go to town. And just life's pretty nice. Kids can go up and down the roads, go out in the forest, look for food, learn to pick berries, learn which ones are poisonous and which ones aren't, and do whatever you want out here. If I want to step out the front door there and shoot my Garand or my shotgun or whatever the heck, ain't nobody going to say nothing. Alright. So much death and destruction that is about to happen, will happen, because of the survivalist mentality. I've come to see that it is so damaging, because it holds out this carrot, that you can stay in Babylon until the last second, slopping around with the rest of the turkey farm inmates, and then poofy presto, dodge the millions of other refugees, lack of food, water, societal veneer of law and order. We're going to be living in a time of without rule of law, WROL. Read marauders, gangsters, Satanists, biker gangs, mutant zombie bikers, whatever. Dodge the military roadblocks, patrols, drones now. Throw into the mix. Evade the starving, hysterical, depraved, and selfish cretins also on the road with your little family, and make it to paradise unscathed. With no deaths, rapes, or other horrors and atrocities. Those survivalist teachers who have propagated that mentality, which is a selfish, destructive, and short-sighted one, will perhaps have done more damage in the final analysis to tens of thousands of families than had they never put pen to paper or spoken a word on the airwaves. Perhaps. Time will tell. Survivalists were ones leaving bloody fingerprints on the outside gopher wood of the ark. The survivors were inside, warm and dry, and well fed. So, get in the ark. In fact, I will not be surprised if it does not turn out to be a very similar case again in these days as it was in the days of Noah. I think I read that somewhere before. We love living in a region which is, for all practical realities, going to be a green island of survival in a war-torn, drought-stricken, disease, pestilence, famine-ridden wasteland. We have never looked back or missed a thing of what we left behind. We have our entire family here. We are where we are at with our entire family together because we faced everything we saw coming at us with our children in our arms and by our side, and that is not a bad way to face the future, no matter how uncertain or frightening it may be. Furfowl survived the Argentina collapse, faced one minor collapse alone in the dark, and after the collapse he had married, and comments on how much difference it is facing darkness, danger, and deprivation with loved ones right by your side. Well, I figure that's going to beat the hell out of fighting my way across the country trying to evade curfews, roadblocks, etc., manned by foreign troops, NatPos, National Police. That's one of the books I read, The Free Men by Jerry Ahern. They called them NatPos. Maybe Blackwater, whatever the replace name of that is. Obama brown shirts, Dodge zombies, mutant zombie bikers, outlaw gangs, renegade military forces, all out to hunt, kill, and eat whatever they see. Not to mention Terminator robots, drones, Star Wars things. Whether or not you agree with my religious outlook, there is still a lot of solid ideas you can glean from my book, How to Get Out of Babylon.com, the ebook. A few more comments. In the event of a total breakdown, there has to be enough of a homogeneous, like-minded, unified population base to care for itself. You must have food production, water, favorable terrain, and many other things. Not too many areas in this country qualify as such. So, protect your family by protecting as large of an area around you as possible. That is the advice given by Furfowl after surviving the Argentina collapse. If you want to keep your own family free from contagious diseases, keep as large of an area of folks around you free of disease as well. The healthier they are, the healthier your family will remain. Pretty simple. From the movie 10,000 BC, my signature line, I've made it into a circle. A good man draws a circle around himself and cares for those within, his woman, his children. Other men draw a larger circle and bring within their brothers and sisters, but some men have a greater destiny. They must draw around themselves a circle that includes many, many more. Your father was one of those men. You must decide for yourself whether you are as well. And of course the scenario in that movie being that this boy's father had left to go find a better place for the tribe, and the tribe hated him because they thought he had copped out on him, taken a powder, and went off on his own just to be selfish. But no, he had foresight, he had vision, he had provision, he was seeing for the entire tribe and was looking out for their greater good. He was a man who had drawn a much, much larger circle around himself. Another way to say this is the motto of the Well-Fed Neighbor Alliance: best defense in hard times is a well-fed neighbor. That's Galen Chadwick saying, and boy, that really says it all. In a nutshell, in one sentence, you will not be able to take care of yourself unless you take care of people around you. We are in this together. We will all hang together. We must hang together, or we will all hang separately. What I am saying is that the time will come that in helping other people, you will be helping yourself and your family, and conversely, in withholding from others, you will be harming your own people. So, you know what that critical mass ends up being for this region, I don't know. I see, I know this is long down the road. Maybe it's too big of a thought, or too horrifying, or too difficult of a thing to grasp. But I'm just looking down the road a ways, a few years down the road. We're going to see earth changes. We're going to see judgments. We're going to see invasion. So this area is 500 miles from the East Coast, 500 miles from Mexico, 500 miles from Canada, and 500 miles from the West Coast. The other West Coast, the Continental Divide. Basically, that cutoff point is, I'm not going to go into it right now. I want to learn how to do screenshots, or show you what's on the screen. I apologize for being so ill-equipped to do this, but I have some studies I want to do on the Craton. Continental Divide is the western edge of the Craton. Appalachians are the eastern edge of the Craton. Outside of that, danger. Inside, safe. So I think the Navy map, which shows a west coast, an inland sea all the way up to the Rockies is, I've said this before, but probably is based on some real hard science. So, west of the Continental Divide is shot through with volcanoes and danger, thin crust, unstable, prone to earthquake, volcano, and I grew up in Denver. A lot of iron. Got to take a magnet and get all the iron filings you want anywhere in Colorado. I'm thinking it's maybe the craton is less dense than the Earth's mantle. In other words, it floats. I'm not so sure that's the case west of the Rockies. Anyway, I think we're going to see a few million people come into this region. Got about 30 to 50,000 square miles, and based on the population density of Switzerland and the fact that the Ozark Plateau is much, much more lush and fertile, capability of growing food. We could see, initially I was thinking 3 million refugees. We could see, 50 million people come in, 40 million or so. Anyway, that remains to be seen. I just see my concept being verified over and over again. Anyway, I hope you get the picture enough to start making a difference immediately in your family, your neighborhood, your community, your region. Start doing something. Take action. Make plans. For many with the selfish survivalist attitude of us four and no more, it will be a matter of life and death, their own, and for far too many of them it will be death. Many will commit unjustified murder, thus affecting their eternal fate, while others may kill the very person God sent to them with the knowledge or skills to save their life, whether herbally or surgically. I have written extensively and at length on many aspects of survival and preparedness, with the major focus being that what is commonly termed preparedness in survivalist literature is grievously lacking tactically, and even more so strategically. Put simply, they are very short-sighted and drastically limited in planning and perspective. Most of them should not be advising people at all. I fear they're going to kill more people than they help. Time will tell. Anyway, my viewpoint is we need to get a radical change of lifestyle, make it a whole life, a whole way of life, preparedness, i.e. be on your own land, be on land, doing food production, food preservation, get ruralized, be in community. The time of the lone wolf is over. As the Hopi elder speaks, and I commented on that already. So anyway, I'm going to wrap that one up. Just want to touch on that. So there you go. This is Jerry Diamond. If you're listening to this, you are the remnant.